In a world of relentless reinvention, Leo Burnett has dropped half its name but doubled down on ambition. Now, simply Leo, the agency isn't just rebranding, it's reloading. Under the leadership of Amitesh Rao and Raj Deepak Das, Leo India is gunning for global mandates, not just as an execution hub but as a powerhouse of original ideas. Having onboarded over 40 new clients in just 15 months, the agency is proving that scale doesn't have to come at the cost of soul. Its future plans? Fuel growth through culture, capability, and creativity, not chaos. In this conversation, we unpack how Leo is balancing deep client partnerships, future facing talent development, and a redefined creative ethos to become the global South Asian force to watch.
Firstly, congratulations on onboarding 40 clients in the past 15 months. How did you manage to achieve that feat without, burning out the creative team or ensuring there was no dilution in the cultural or the structural fabric of Leo as an institution?
The answer to your question is about where we believe growth comes from. Growth comes from good work, right? It's a virtuous cycle. The better the work you do, the more growth you will get. If you follow that principle, then I think, the sometimes negative aspects of growth that you're talking about, burnout, etc., are never an issue. The question is this: how do you drive better work? Not how do you drive growth? And you drive better work in our business through fundamentally talent and culture. These are the two principal tenets of doing good work. That's what we focus on here. Do we have great people? We have fantastic people. Do we have a culture that allows them to flower, grow, flourish, express themselves? Yes, we do. Do we celebrate the best work and the best talent? Yes, we do. When you do that, you get great work. And we've been consistently over the years doing fabulous work. What we've also done, I think, is started expanding the scope of our capabilities and our talent. So, for example, we invested a lot in planning, in technology, in a lot of capability areas over the last 12 to 15 months that are adding more dimensions to the work that we do, and that fuels growth as well.
So, you just mentioned about two of the pillars, I would say, which comes to the world of advertising and media and communications as well, which is culture, the aspect of creativity, and most importantly, in your organization's case, the legacy and the heritage that you have. So you had the legacy of Leo Burnett, stalwart in the industry, which was known for its creative prowess. From such a big organization, now it's come narrowed down to a single shortened word, Leo. Now that, the organization has got this new avatar of sorts, has it gotten any kind of feedback from your clients, especially the legacy clients? Because the synonymity that was attached with the brand, do you feel that, there has been any kind of conversations that have taken place with the clients who feel that there might be certain changes in the offering and they need to look out for something new?
I think when the change was happening, at the same time, FEs was happening. And so we were doing good in FEs. If you remember that, we took a Leo flag to FEs just to tell that it's the same people, it's the same work, it's the same client, it's the same love, the same grit, the same hunger, and the same vision to do great work. Nothing has changed. For the client, what's most important is, are they seeing the same people solving the great solutions for them? That's what matters for them. They don't really care a lot about what's happening at the back end. For them, work matter, their business matter, the people work with them matter. And so they've been happy.
Leo has been part of some very high impact campaigns and long-standing ones, for the past few years, which have really gotten the global attention and have bagged you international accolades. Some that come to the top of my mind are Gatorade's Find the Turf, Whisper's Missing Chapter, and Flipkart's Big Billion Push. While crafting these campaigns, how is it that you always kept the business outcomes in mind? With marketing budgets now being pulled back, clients are not looking at work that is only going to be good to have, which will only win awards. They're looking at how it is going to drive their overarching business goals.
If you look at it, Whisper, right, I think when we started the entire movement for Keep Girls in School, the vision was much bigger. When you have a big vision to follow or a big dream to chase, it doesn't happen overnight. 4 or 5 years back when we started working with the Whisper, we saw COVID happen, how we can make sure the girls stay in school. We created Mobile Sala. And the next year we realized, the biggest problem was there is no chapter only. So we tried to get the chapter back into our education system. The next year it was, oh my God, you know what? Though we are teaching it, but kids are not accepting even ghar mein, they don't talk about that. So because a lot of moms don't know about it, don't want to talk about it. So can you educate moms? Then while solving that, we saw a massive problem. The period age is gone down according to Tanner's scale, which is an 80-year-old scale from 16 to 13 is the average age has gone down to 8 now. Now we're solving that problem. So when you are actually having a bigger vision to solve, you just don't do it just one. You have to do it year after year after year after year. When we started working with PepsiCo, the biggest thing is we decided to not only do the marketing campaign, to go down into the farmlands and see how can we solve the entire ecosystem. And that is when we first started with Smart Farm, then looking into biochar, stubble burning was happening. So how we can do with that, then we started working with the factories with Drops of Joy, then Farm Equal. And in fact, now we're working something called working with the soil. Again, how to make the soils better. Now, if you look at it, it is not a overnight thing that you change, because as a brand, as a partner with their marketing team, as a partner with the company that we're working with, you constantly start to solve year after year after year after year. And we look back to saying, what is good for people is good for brand. So we keep that, this is this intersection we talk about. What is good for people and good for brand, and intersection is a small thing that actually, if you keep on cracking again and again, you actually do magic. And you have to do it on and on and on. It can't happen overnight.
What is good for the business is good for the brand, and definitely good for Leo, from where I understand. Brands do see the merit of a long-term association of a particular campaign or a marketing initiative. Yeah. But business is dynamic, as we are seeing in recent times. In certain situations like this, do you see that brands still want to get involved in these kind of long-tail marketing campaigns, or do they want to now cash in on the virality of something which will give them quicker gains, whether it's legacy brands or whether it's the newbie brand?
I think this often we confuse ourselves by polarizing these two objectives. Yeah. They're not necessarily different. It's not a coincidence that this big work that is getting applauded in all over the world is on the biggest brands, right? And I would add a lot of other work that we are doing on big brands like Acco and IKEA and HDFC. This is in the DNA of the work that we try to produce. Some of it gets applauded. We are very happy for it, but that's not what we are chasing, right? That's a great outcome. We love the outcome. We are very proud of it. But there is the DNA in the work is across all the work that we do, where you're fundamentally trying to solve a problem. You start with the problem, right? Creativity for us is what? It's not a nice looking ad. It's a creative way of solving a problem. A brand's problem often is best solved by looking at who are the people they are addressing, and therefore what is the human challenge. Yeah. If you come from there, you will always get good work. In a marketing calendar, there are many objectives to be met for a brand. In the real world, you are chasing targets for this quarter too. All these brands have great businesses, right? Whisper's doing really well. All these brands we're talking about, Lays, they're very successful brands. Their growth rates are far ahead of their competitors. Their marketing challenges are being met year on year. That's because they are looking at this work as not, this is some quote unquote thematic thing that I'll do once in a while. This is my real life discounting problem that I will do. Your tactics will sometimes deal with different challenges at different points in time. That's how you deal with it. But you've got to understand that I, as a brand, I have a meaning system because I'm solving something for someone. That's what we and the client get together and say, this is the big problem. Now I will articulate that in different ways at different points of time. It's not that easy to arrive at that clarity of thought. It takes years sometimes. Which is why also it's not a coincidence that the big work that we are doing is on relationships that we build over time with our clients. Yes. From Leo, you don't see work that's, hey, here's the project, 3 months, let's find some client, do some big piece of work, win something, get out of the way. That's not the work that is winning. The work that's winning is work that we are building with clients over a period of time.
So does that also mean that there is a little bit of proactivity and you say, okay, there are certain clients which have not even identified that there is an opportunity where they can talk about the business impact, the SDG goals that they might have set out, and how there is a larger narrative that can be built around it. So does that mean that you actually invest in the whole research?
It is not a, I have an idea. No, you don't have an idea. First of all, let's find the problem, then we have an idea towards it. Not the idea comes first, but find the client's problem. Then we go backwards in that, let's figure out what solution you get for the problem.
Sometimes when you sit outside a client's business framework, you're sitting in culture and you're reading what's happening in the world with people in culture. We do that, right? We do that well. And therefore, we see opportunity, we see problems human beings face, we see cultural trends, and we see these not necessarily as a response to a brief.
Yeah.
But how do you take that read to answer a brief is the second part of what completes the cycle. We're lucky to have a very, very wide portfolio of clients. Every category, every demographic, every region, you name it. So do we sometimes have a problem, a definition and a solution and a read which is not answering a live brief? Oh, you bet, a lot of the times. But we have clients who are working in frameworks that can solve something for them. So we'll go to that client, our existing client, and say, you know what, we've got a perspective on this consumer of yours. We should do this because this will solve that problem for you.
Client gets us on board because we are Leo. We do a certain kind of work. We have to solve that problem for them in the Leo way, and that's what we do.
You want Leo to be positioned as the creative hub, especially for global mandate. And you just mentioned about the fact that you have a wide swath of clients that is there. But when you're eyeing for those global mandates, how do you ensure that Leo doesn't fall back on the usual trope of India being nothing more than the muscle for execution or the technology capabilities that is known for, but is actually the cerebral?
Look, there are two realities here, right? The reality of India, this is a labor economy where you can do things at scale, efficiently, cheap than many other markets. That is one economic reality of India, and we do very well with some of that. There is another reality of India. We are the best minds in the world. The same is true of creative thinking, of strategic talent, the excellence in the mind. We are the best in the world. Our ability to take that belief system and be confident that we can solve a problem for somebody in China or Dubai or Brazil
Or US.
or US. When you walk in with that belief system, the world is open to you. Global recognition it makes it easier to make those inroads. Now we are, the world's #1 creative effective agency in the work ranking. A lot of the growth that, you opened this conversation with is coming from us going to other markets. Last year we had a significant amount of success in the Middle East, in China, in Southeast Asia. We can solve for the world. And we are trying to do that.
The diverse brands and the diverse market that you work with, diverse problem that you are trying to solve, right? It just changes your entire outlook towards the world very differently. Today, you're working with the biggest fintech brands trying to solve a fintech tech problem with the phone. Next moment, you're working with one of the FMCG brand having a simple human problem to going into a streaming platform to seeing how can we make people stream more and what is the problem with that. You're actually looking into different brand, different problem, different demography, different human problems, and then you look at it every day you're walking into it. We have 150 brands, out of which literally 100 of them are on fire all the time. Literally. So you are jumping in one to other to understanding what's happening. And the best part is you're getting something from, you learn from Spotify, you go to Flipkart, you learn from Flipkart, you go to a P&G, you go for P&G, you go to PepsiCo, you go to the PepsiCo, to go to Heineken, to someone else. By the time you actually join the dots in a very different way, because your brain has been operating like machine, and in a speed that you're operating is amazing. And then you seeing the global problem, understand the same thing. It's one more market for you and one more brand for you. So you know exactly plug and play faster because you're working with 100 brands here every single day.
So you mentioned, is that Leo's talent lies in solving human problems, which is exactly what you touched upon. But currently, talent is become a huge problem, right? I mean, in the industry. And you spoke about 150 odd brands, and you're constantly, out of which 100 are on fire. What about the talent issue? Because do you think that the talent is geared up to deal?
So I will tell you something interesting. I just did recently. The first thing he joined, she recognized the people in the system who are doing amazingly well. And his first thing was he got those people in the front. He says, we have to have a new leadership voice and a new leadership language. And that will only happen the people who know the system, they know the culture very well. While we are doing this, he created next level of system of people who will be trained to solve that problem that we stand for, the Leo way of doing it. So that is the, 60-40 rule was happening. 60% people who know the system, in the system, 40% people who come in with the same grit and same idea of having how can you solve human problem. That comes in. But the same happening, we have an amazing young people talent pool. We said, right, the Gen Zs don't work. No, we have a very interesting problem actually. Gen Zs, how we train the Gen Z to be leader because they are there for really long. Some of them are 7 years, 6 years, 5 years. They have stayed and have not moved, and they are the one of the top performer for us. And at the same time, we're training them. While also a lot of people who understood the system went out are coming back because they know what we do is best, but you understand the way. And that is also a new way of getting a certain kind of people who understand the culture.
So it looks like you're future-proofing, right?
I'm sorry, I beg to disagree. We don't have a talent problem.
Industry.
Okay. I think we have, there is talent there. The question is not scarcity of talent. The question is how creative companies are grooming and building talent.
People, yeah.
That's our focus. There are really smart, intelligent, talented, creative people out there in this market, out there in the world. They haven't gone away anywhere. They're still there. Sure. They haven't disappeared in the last 10 years. So it's not that 10 years back, there used to be so much talent. Now there's not. Of course they're there. In fact, I think talent has become even better now because of just,
technology and everything.
And all of that, right? And stimulus is a lot more. And that is creativity, right? It comes from stimulus. If we have a very simple thing we do, right? If you're talented, you're going to do well. We're going to empower you to do well. Yeah. What is at the heart of this culture of this company? We're not a top-heavy personality-led culture. We're a culture that says, hey, you're only 2 years old in the business. You're a talented person. Go win the business for us. Go get that can award. We'll back you. If you fall down, we'll still back you. And we find Gen Z responds to that. Yeah. That's why I think our attrition rate when it comes to young people is way better than most other creative companies around.
This is a bunch of people, which is a massive amount of middle level leadership that we have, which are actually we can see them. See, because we know that they go out and do the same leadership role. Why don't they stay with us and become the leadership role and they grow with us? We look into what they do that day. So the person who's going to lead that day is not by designation. Yeah. The person who's going to lead that day who has the biggest hunger to make this client, I mean, you just can't say it's our world or do it our way and there is it's their world. In fact, if you see when we send people to own cans and everything one cans or when we send to spikes or everything, you see the young people that go are much more. Judging also, you see a lot of young people are judging nowadays a lot. Yeah. And us, so we're building a team which is not good now. How can we have a next 5 years and next 10 years? Can we have an agency that is more healthier and more success?
About AI becoming the co-creator, right? How I wanted to understand how important or how integral has it become when it comes to creative reviews at Leo? Are you looking at a future where campaign sign-offs involve as much code as craft, which we are seeing with more and more AI-driven campaigns coming up, especially when clients demand that it should be timely delivered?
So I will just take you 2 steps back and see how we use AI. When you see the word of Gatorade, with a smart farm, when you are actually scanning the the farmland to understand what's happening, or SIVO, say with Oreo, when you're having a voice activated the entire thing, or what you are doing with scanning the codes and everything with Flipkart. The thing is, now we are using it, it's in our hand and we are using it. AI was already there in the market. The best thing when you have it, look into how we can change it, how we can utilize it to make things better. And that is what we started doing it. Publicis is one of the first company in 2017 when they declared that Marcel will be our core of it. And everyone laughed at it. Oh my God, AI is going to be used and everything. 2017, before the AI conversation was happening, we started accepting it as part of our everyday life. And then, since 2022, before the AI becomes the AI norm, early of 2021, we started actually looking into how we can use in our work, everyday work. It's a tool that makes our life easier. It's a tool that makes us make faster. It's a tool that makes us do more craft because everything that is average is been done and we can know exactly what can be done. One of the biggest thing that we believe in is impacting 1 billion. That is what we believe in. If you look at it, one of the biggest thing that we have started is how can we use called AI Bharat. AI, why should AI should be only having or something cool and fun on Instagram? The AI can do out on the ground and do much more impact in a country like us where it is needed the maximum. So it is not a cool tech anymore. It is actually on ground doing something really impactful work.
It is about the democratization of a tool to solve problems. So when you're talking about facial scanning, right? If you look at it, it is also got about scalability because of the fact that that simple tool was being used, whether it's QR codes, whether it's facial recognition, those were being used largely for the scalability. But creativity is not about scalability. Creativity is largely about coming up with something which is niche, something which is innovative, something which is probably not even thought about, maybe even radical.
Firstly, I don't want to say AI alone because AI is sometimes the poster boy of what disruption technology is bringing to our lives and to this industry. But there's a lot other tools as well. So let's talk AI. Let's talk data. Let's talk the different platforms that we have and we deploy. And I want to break it into two simple things. And I'm talking about how we as a business adopt them and how we think of them as actually rocket fuel for creativity, right? And not an end in themselves. So let's split it into two buckets. Bucket one is how all of this technology, and AI being one key aspect of it, allows us to go scale, which means we do things more efficiently, we do things faster, with more agility, we create content at massive amounts of scale that otherwise were impossible to do, right? We have production techniques, we have, even when it comes to simple things like storyboarding, right? The mechanics of the business, of the creative business, are now much faster, much smoother, much easier to do. The second part is really why we feel all of this is our superpower as a creative company. What is data doing? It's basically giving you starting points, right? And AI is able to process a large amount of data to give you really interesting starting points that you can then work with to connect dots that don't have any reason to be connected, which is basically what creativity is, right? So our ability to mine large amounts of data, make sense of it, so that we have material for our creative brains to work with, is the second part, which is to me the super interesting part. Let me be honest, we don't know how to do it perfectly well. We're learning. The whole world is learning. We think we're a bit ahead of the curve for sure. And therefore, the tools that we have at our disposal, the audience mining tools that we have at our disposal, they give us a much more rich source of data to ask the right questions. But you still need a creative mind to ask the right question. And when you get 5 possible answers of that question, then you've got a bunch of people sitting together and say, okay, I've got great starting points. Creativity is still required. You still need the human mind to come in and make sense of that. Business and work are not separate. It's the same thing, right? I think we're on that growth trajectory continues at an absolutely unabated pace. We far outstripped the industry growth rate last year. We're going to do that this year again.
Yeah.
And with that growth, obviously, comes growth in talent, growth in capability, and all of that. So that continues. But again, I want to go dial this back to the fact that I'm not chasing growth. I'm chasing great work, and the growth will come. That's the mantra of our success, and that will continue.
Yeah.
I do believe that one of the big areas of growth for us will be the global market. So Leo India is already made a big mark across our network and across many markets, and we continue to do that.
Yeah.
So that growth, I feel, will be a strong engine of business as well in the coming months.
At Leo, creativity isn't a campaign, it's a commitment. Whether it's educating young girls with Whisper, transforming agriculture ecosystems for PepsiCo, or tackling societal blind spots through storytelling, the agency's work consistently ladders up to real world impact. But what sets it apart is a long game, a belief that sustainable brand building happens through enduring partnership, not just project wins. For them, the real brief is simple: solve human problems in ways that move the needle for clients and sometimes even for the world.